are /noSleep. My roommate has been in the shower for more than 4 hours, so I got home around 11 p.m. after a late night at the office turned into an even later night at the bar. 4 drinks deep and tired, I stumbled through the doorway, lay down on the couch, and reached for my bag of joints, sparking one up as I pulled up YouTube on my laptop. In the middle of watching a luxury cruise tour, nearly passing out, I heard the front door open. I glanced over just enough to see my roommate come in, hang his jacket in the closet, and silently walk to his room. Normal enough. I'd been living with him for about 3 months, long enough to pick up on most of his habits. He rarely talked unless spoken to, kept things clean, and never caused much trouble. I went back to YouTube, and about 5 minutes later, I heard the shower in his room turn on. Still, nothing strange. Half asleep, I was watching bare-knuckle boxing highlights when I passed out. I woke up at 3:30 a.m. with my head pounding and throat dry. I got up, heading toward the fridge, when I noticed a soft, persistent sound in the background, the shower. Suddenly, last night's events replayed in my mind. The bar, the Uber, YouTube, my roommate coming home, and the shower turning on. I stood there trying to make sense of it. Maybe he went to bed and forgot to turn it off, but that didn't seem right. Maybe he slipped and fell? Alarmed, I rushed to his room, finding the bathroom door locked. I pounded on it. "Hey man, you all right?" No response. I considered kicking the door down, but decided to check my phone first. There was an unread text from my roommate. "Hey man, I couldn't sleep, so I went over to my girlfriend's place. Not sure when I'll be back." Sent 2 hours ago. I looked at the bathroom door, then back at my phone. Everything felt wrong. My roommate never texts me like that, and he doesn't have a girlfriend. So who was in the shower? I tried calling him, but no answer. Sent some texts, no response. On his desk, I saw his keys and wallet beside his laptop. My head spun, so I left, pacing around the living room, the sound of the shower gnawing at my nerves. Then I heard a phone vibrating on the kitchen counter. It was my roommate's phone. Panic set in. I grabbed my keys and ran out of the apartment, down to the lobby and over to the McDonald's across the street. Sitting there, I thought of calling the cops, but felt too nervous. The place began to feel claustrophobic, so I went back outside, only to feel an intense sensation of being watched. My gaze drifted up to my apartment balcony. Someone was standing there, a dark, stiff figure, almost like a mannequin but slightly swaying. I froze, unable to comprehend what I was seeing. It wasn't my roommate. It was too tall, its head nearly scraping the balcony above. Even squinting, I couldn't make out any details, as if it was just pure darkness. I went back into McDonald's and locked myself in the bathroom, finally calling 911. I told the operator that someone had broken into my place, but that I'd gotten out safely. They said they'd send someone over. I waited at the table closest to the exit until I saw the red and blue lights cutting through the darkness. I went outside to meet the cops, looking up at the balcony to find it empty, though the door to the living room had been left open. They pelted me with a bunch of questions that I found difficult to answer. Is the intruder armed? Do I have an idea who it might be? What are their intentions? I told them I didn't know, that I couldn't figure it out, but they just kept on asking. Soon I was practically yelling at them to go up there and check it out for themselves, and I suppose the terror in my voice was enough for them to begin taking this seriously. They told me to wait by the entrance, and I watched on as they entered the building. I was out there for a long time, growing increasingly anxious at the thought of what they were going to tell me when they came down. A few minutes later, the silence was broken by a single muffled gunshot. My heart dropped into my stomach and I continued to wait there, unsure of what to do otherwise. 20 more minutes of silence and the officers still hadn't come down. Soon I could hear more of them approaching in the distance. Before I knew it, 4 more cop cars had pulled up around me and the scene had fallen into chaos. Officers shouting over each other and into their radios, more questions being hurled my way, none of which I was able to answer. The next few sequences were mostly a blur, but I remember the building being evacuated, the tenants frightened and confused as they were ushered outside, while the officers became more and more frantic. I remembered hearing more scattered gunshots, some screaming, other noises that were difficult to make sense of. There were a few lapses in my memory after that, but I recall being pushed into the back of a police car. After being driven to the station, I was led into one of the PAO.